She said I was making her uncomfortable. I stopped existing. My coworker Megan went to HR and filed a complaint saying my presence in the office made her feel unsafe. We'd worked together for 3 years. I'd never raised my voice at her, never touched her, never even sent her a text outside of work hours, but apparently saying good morning when I walked past her desk was harassment. HR called me into a meeting on a Tuesday afternoon. Megan was sitting there with 2 managers and a representative from legal. She wouldn't look at me, just kept staring at her hands while they read off a list of my crimes, greeting her daily, asking if she wanted coffee when I made a pot, holding the elevator door when I saw her coming. The HR director looked at me with this expression like I was a predator. We take these complaints very seriously. Megan has expressed that your behavior makes her uncomfortable. I sat there in complete shock. I asked what specifically I had done wrong. The HR director sighed. It's not about specific actions. It's about how your presence makes her feel. We need you to maintain distance and limit all interactions to essential work communication only. I looked at Megan. She was still staring at her hands. I realized something in that moment. She wasn't scared of me. She was embarrassed because 2 weeks earlier, she'd asked me to cover her shift during a major client presentation. I said no because I had a doctor's appointment I'd waited 3 months to get. She didn't take it well, called me selfish, said I clearly didn't care about the team. This was retaliation. I could have fought it. I could have pointed out that she'd asked me for help dozens of times and I'd always said yes until that one time. I could have shown the text where she thanked me for being such an amazing coworker. Instead, I decided to give her exactly what she asked for. I stopped existing. I moved my desk to the far corner of the office. I took the stairs instead of the elevator. I arrived at 7:30 inches the morning and left at 4 on the dot, perfectly avoiding her 9 to 5 schedule. When she walked into the break room, I walked out. When she sent me an email, I responded with the absolute minimum words required. When she needed help with the database system I'd built, I forwarded her request to IT. The first week, she seemed relieved, like she'd won something. The second week, she started noticing the gaps. The reports I used to proofread for her went out with errors. The client relationships I'd helped her maintain started asking why she wasn't returning calls. The weekly summaries I'd always compiled were now her responsibility, and she had no idea where I kept the templates. By week 3, she was drowning. She tried approaching me once. Hey, do you have a minute to help me with the Henderson account? I didn't look up from my screen. Please submit a formal request through the appropriate channels. I want to ensure all our interactions remain professional and documented. Her face went red. She walked away. Our manager called me in to ask why I wasn't being a team player. I pulled out the HR complaint. I'm following the instructions I was given. I'm limiting interactions to essential work communication only. He didn't know what to say. A month later, Megan missed a critical deadline on the Pemberton project, the one I'd always backed her up on, the one she'd taken full credit for the past 2 years. The client pulled their contract. $340,000 in annual revenue gone. Our director called an emergency meeting. Megan tried to explain that she was overwhelmed, that she needed more support. The director asked why she hadn't utilized team resources. Megan looked at me. I looked at my laptop. She couldn't say it out loud. She couldn't admit that the guy she'd accused of harassment was the same guy who'd been carrying half her workload for 3 years. She was let go 2 weeks later. Not because of the complaint against me, because her actual performance, without my invisible support, wasn't anywhere close to what she'd been claiming. On her last day, she stopped by my desk. I didn't look up. You did this on purpose. Her voice was shaking. You knew I'd fail without you. I finally met her eyes. You said my presence made you uncomfortable. I removed my presence completely. She opened her mouth, closed it, then walked out. HR never apologized. The complaint stayed in my file, but I got a raise that quarter for maintaining professional boundaries during a difficult situation. Megan's LinkedIn now says she's exploring new opportunities. I check it every few months, not because I care, because some lessons deserve a witness.